Welcome back to our coverage of 2017 Conference USA Kickoff presented by Under Armour. Now we take a look at Middle Tennessee. They're picked second in the East. And last season, Middle Tennessee finished with a record of 8-5, 5-3 in conference play. Played in the Hawaii Bowl, and they've set their sights on a bowl again this season. And joining us is their head coach, Rick Stockstill. Rick, good to have you with us again, my friend.
Thank you, Ron.
Also joining us, his son, also the starting quarterback, Brent Stockstill. Good to have you with us.
Thank you for having us.
And Richie James, preseason All-Conference USA. We'll talk to these two guys because they are probably the most lethal quarterback-wide receiver combination in Conference USA. Last year, you finished, as I mentioned, a record of 8-5. You won your last two regular season Conference USA games. How important was it that point of the season to win those final two games?
Well, we had put ourselves, Ron, in a good position. We were 6-2 going into our ninth game, and then Brent got hurt, and we struggled the next two games. So finishing the season on a positive note, winning those two games and getting to the Hawaii Bowl, I think we're satisfying for our team. You know, I don't know how much that's going to carry over to this year. Because every team is different. But I thought the way we finished the season, overcoming the adversity that we had faced there towards the end, was critical in our season.
Longest tenured coach, by the way, in Conference USA. Last year you finished third in the East. You're picked second in the East this year. What does it take to get over the hump to be number one?
Well, we've got to be more consistent throughout the course of the year. We've got to improve defensively, and I think we will this year. You know, we gave up 40 points a game last year in conference play. So we've got to improve there, and I like the attitude of our defense right now. I think there's a chip on their shoulder. They've got something to prove. And then offensively, we want to continue to improve on what we've done the past couple of years.
You mentioned defense, and I want to talk about that because you brought in Scott Schaefer, the former head coach at Syracuse. He's your new defensive coordinator. Just that shot of energy, what has he changed besides that?
Well, I think he's brought an air of confidence to our defense. You know, our philosophy is going to change. We're going to be a little bit more aggressive than what we were the last couple of years. So, but I think just his overall enthusiasm. He's a phenomenal coach. He's a really, really good coach. He's got a great plan, a great system, and I think he's brought an air of confidence to our defense.
Didn't you have more of a bend, don't break approach last season?
I don't know if you'd call it that, but that's kind of what we weren't a very big pressure team, and we've got to do things. Offenses are too dynamic in this day and age that if they know where you're at, you know, you're a sitting duck out there, they can take advantage of you, and we've got to move people around more than what we've done in the past, so hopefully we'll be able to do that this year.
Well, I read one of the comments from you about your defense, and you said to contend, you have to stop the run in 2017. Focal point in the spring?
Well, I think as always starts, all great defenses take something away from the offense, and it always starts in the running game. If you can make an offense one-dimensional, you've got a chance to be successful that day. So we got to stop the run, and stopping the run means we got to tackle better. I didn't think we tackled as well as we needed to last year, and so that was an emphasis this spring, and I think we improved this spring tackling.
Well, defensive line, you've got a lot of holes to fill, but when I look at your linebacking core, I would have to say it's probably the deepest linebacking core in Conference USA. All the starters are back, and backups are back for 2017.
Yeah, I like our linebacker position, and we were a little inconsistent there last year, but they were a lot better this spring. And then some of the new guys that we've added to the depth there I think are really going to help us. So I think a Khalil Brooks, a DJ Sanders, Darius Harris. I think we got some Chris Melton. We got some guys that have played now, that I think will play a lot better and be more consistent than what we were last year.
He's sitting next to you, and I'm going to ask you about it too. But the fact that he was injured, that your son was injured last year, but despite the injury last season, still passed for over 3,200 yards. Number one question, how's his health?
He's good. He'll be ready when we get started here in the next couple weeks, and he's done a great job with the rehab part of it and everything. So I think he'll be ready to roll.
Well, you look at the Stockstill to Richie James combination, and I mentioned at the top of the show, but I really believe that's one of the most lethal combinations. Forget about Conference USA. I think in college football.
I'd be surprised if it's not, Ron. Both of them are two special players. They've got a great chemistry together. There's a great trust between both of them. So I think it'll only be better this year.
Have you found the people to protect him this year on the offensive line?
I think we will by the time we get started. There's still some holes that we've got to fill there, but we lost some really good players last year in Dan Stevens and Josh Chester and Marquise Shakur. We lost some good players, and then Hunter Rogers as a backup in there. So we got to replace some guys, but I'm confident in who we're putting up there. They haven't played as much as those other guys have. But I think by the time we open up in September that I'll feel good about them.
Let's talk to the players. And, Brent, you are the most productive quarterback in the history of Middle Tennessee. But when you had the injury last season as you laid on the ground, what went through your mind?
The thing is you just hate not being out there with your team. I wasn't really thinking long term. I thought short term. Just it happened in the beginning of the 9th game, and I was just trying to figure out if I get back for the bowl game or get back for the end of the season. So that was about it on that.
How special is the relationship with the gentleman sitting next to you, with Richie?
It's special. It's hard to describe. We brought up together. We came up through this thing together. He's one of my best friends, one of the hardest workers that I've been around. What he can do on the field is special. It's hard. I think you can see it each and every game. He does things that not many people can do. So he makes my job a lot easier, and I'm just honored to call him a friend and a teammate.
Well, it's almost like catching lightning in a bottle when you have that combination of personalities that just click not only on the field but off the field as well. Is that fair?
Yes, sir. I think so. I think we just kind of click from day one. I kind of gravitate to guys that work extremely hard, and he's one of those guys. He's always wanting to get extra work in, always asking me for advice and that kind of thing. And that's something that I love about him is we're just always getting better, and I think we've kind of carried that over to the field and had some success.
Richie, talk about the relationship you have with Brent right now.
It's different. It's different than a lot of players, get the experience with, a team. It's a really good relationship that you have with an individual. And, lucky for me, receiver and quarterback is one of those really special relationships that you need to have. One of those relationships that you got to be able to, wrap your head around as a player, that not only that we have a really good relationship on the field, but actually off the field too.
Do you have a sense of what he's going to do when he's in the pocket?
Yeah, that definitely.
Kind of weird, but
weird,
it works,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, you can tell he's holding it. He's in there for an extra second, just for we can make plays. So I definitely do have a sense.
He's the FBS active leader in not only receptions but also receiving yards as well. So where does the offense go to kick up a notch? You were one of the most productive offenses, not just in Conference USA, but in the country. What do you have to improve on this year? I'll start with you, Brent.
I think we just got to finish drives. I think we did a good job moving it, up and down the field. But if you want to win ball games, you got to score points. You got to score in the red zone. So that's a point of emphasis, and also protecting the ball. I think we did a lot better job last year, but that's something that you got to continue to do. And starts with myself cutting down on some interceptions, and then just protecting the ball. So that's what we got to do.
How about you, Richie?
Definitely staying consistent. Just being a consistent offense. Every week. So we got to improve on just knowing that we can get better and never settling for less.
He mentioned the fact he's got to do a little better job of protecting the football. He had only 7 interceptions all year after all those passes. Is that good enough for Dad, or he wants 0?
I don't know about that, but I know Coach Franklin wants it cut down, so that's what we got to do.
And the relationship with your dad as coach, and when you saw your son go down, obviously he's your starting quarterback, but number one, first and foremost, he was your son.
Yeah, it's a little different as a coach. I wear a coach hat, and then I'm also the dad hat, and you hate to see any of your players get hurt. When you go out on that field and one of your players get hurt, that's somebody's son on the field. Mm-hmm. And so you feel for that parent in the stands, and then so you go out there and, it's your son, so now you're the coach part of it and the dad part of it. So you hate to see anybody get hurt, especially, people that work so hard, that put so much, invest so much. You hate those guys to see them get hurt. Just like Richie, when he got hurt in the bowl game, you hate going out there because of the work ethic that they have.
Finish this sentence. We have to do blank on offense in order to get better.
Run the ball efficiently.
And we have to do blank on defense to be better.
We have to get after the quarterback. We've got to create some pressure on the quarterback this year.
How about you?
On offense?
On offense.
Wow.
I mean, you averaged almost 518 yards on offense.
We have to score one more point than the other team.
That's always my wife's key to the game. She goes, the key to the game is score more than the other team. Richie, how about you? You have to do what on offense to be even more successful this season?
Score one more point than the other.
Yeah, really.
Score one more point than the other
There you
team,
go.
really.
Have him throw the ball one more time to you
Yeah.
every game. Yeah, you know, Rick, as I look at it, and we've had this discussion even with Judy McLeod, the commissioner of Conference USA, and there are some coaches talking and also some conferences saying we got to get a Power 6. Conference USA, I don't think gets the credit and recognition that it deserves. And I take that a step further. Do you think Middle Tennessee gets the credit and recognition it deserves nationally?
I agree with you that this conference does not get the credit it deserves. There's tremendous players in this conference that are highly underrated nationally, and there's great coaches in this conference. And I agree with you that Middle Tennessee does not get the credit it deserves nationally. To do what we've done over a consistent time period, you know, we've been bowl eligible 8 of my 11 years here. The product that we put on the field, the people we play, the people that we compete against, the people we beat, what we're doing, we deserve a heck of a lot more credit than what we're getting.
And, you know, people say, well, you have to win. Well, Conference USA does win.
Yep.
And I think the national media and media in general look at Conference USA as, oh, those are just teams that didn't get into this conference or that conference.
Right.
And I think that's unfair.
It's highly unfair because you got guys like Brent and Richie, you got really good players here. And I think part of it is that image when we have to go play somebody and they're going to pay us $1.5 million, people look at us as we're just, you know, somebody to play a money game for. So we're a good football team. Middle Tennessee is. We got great players, and then we've got really good players and coaches in this conference.
Well, let's talk about your schedule, too, because you only had 5 home games last year. You've got 6 this year, which I think is a big advantage. You open the year at home versus Vandy, then you go to Minnesota, and you have to go to Bowling Green. But you have a chance of beating an SEC team and a Big Ten team. That is important, and I think that goes to what we were just talking about, to getting that little check mark by people. Oh, you beat this team or that team.
Yeah, we got an SEC team, an ACC team, and a Big Ten team. And last year we beat Missouri on the road, an SEC team.
Yep.
And we're not going to back down from anybody. It's a tremendous, challenging schedule, and we're the only team in the conference that plays 3 Power 5s this year. You know, so it's a heck of a challenge, but one that we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to get after it. I can promise you that.
And beating Missouri, Brent and Richie last year, I think was big. I don't care if they're having a down year or not. It was an SEC team. How big would it be to beat the Vandys and the Minnesotas and the Bowling Greens?
That'd be huge. I think that's, like you said, that's what we got to do to take the next step, to earn some respect, nationally, and to prepare us for conference play. We got to beat those teams. We got to, it starts with the Vandy. We're not looking ahead, but we got to beat them and then go on the road to beat, two really good football teams. So it's a tall task, but we're up for it.
And Richie, you guys aren't intimidated when you go to these places, are you?
No, never. We never will be. And that's just Coach Stock and us. We're never scared to play anyone. So we love it. We love it. We love the opportunity.
It's been a real pleasure not only watching all of you play, but getting to know you over the years. Stay healthy, number one. Best of luck to you, Ray.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank
Good
you, sir.
seeing you again, my friend.
Thank you.
We will continue our coverage when we return to Dallas, Texas, right after this.